What up, everybody, you sexy ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Nashville Unsigned, the news podcast. We are back covering all things digital and music news for the independent community. Get over to YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and search the news in Apple Podcasts to download this episode. Stalk us. Literally, if you see us at Kroger, friggin' stalk us in the organic aisle. Because that isn't us, because we get the dirty shit.
No, I'm in the freezer section.
We get in the dirty. We're in the in-between. They say the in-between aisles are the dirty aisles. So we're in the dirty aisles, let's just be honest.
Oh, yeah. I'll be found salivating in the Twinkie section. That's basically where I'm at.
Man, I just get fajita fixins all the time. That's all I do.
Oh,
I make fajitas
Dude, Nick
twice
makes some
a week now.
amazing fajitas.
Oh, my God.
Okay, we're all going to Nick's for fajitas.
Fajita nut. It's Friday, actually.
We are straight chilling for reallin', and we're going to take a little pause for a second because we need a password.
That's 4849.
So if you guys ever find Jared's phone, 4849, you better change that shit.
Just start shooting some content.
Yeah, there you go, world. There's my password.
We are hanging out, chilling with my business partners, Mr. Nick Brown.
What's up, everybody?
I am Amber Stoneman. This is Jared Rigsby.
Hello.
And Patrick Lonnie.
Hello.
And we are your music and tech gurus because we know nobody's mixing the two yet. You're welcome. We are hanging out, chilling, kind of talking about all things that are relevant right now. And we're moving into music festivals and music modernization that all fall underneath the how do you make revenue, or how are you pulling revenue? Maybe you're not doing anything, but how are you pulling revenue as a brand? Yeah,
we kind of want to drop some important tidbits on you on how to go after your money that you're making. And there's the Music Modernization Act is a big implement. It's a step towards the direction we all want it to go. But there's something to be said of looking at your business in a way that it's not just direct. It's why aren't people just buying my CDs? And you're like, well, we're in a different world. And so we want to touch on some other ways where you can make money on some really popular trends, and touch on some important factors that go into that.
It's all about making some moolah these days without having to
you gotta chase your money down
without having to prostitute for it.
Because music's expensive, man. You can't just have Uncle Larry giving you $10,000 every once in a while.
Well, you know what? You can.
I can do it.
He can be
not
your
everybody
investor.
has an Uncle Larry. That's the only thing.
Find your investor.
Yeah. You'll find an Uncle Larry out there somewhere.
There is another Uncle Larry. So let's roll right into it. Let's kind of chat about. We'll kind of start with a high-level overview. I know there are independent artists out there that are confused on what's happening with the Music Modernization Act and what that looks like for them and how it's going to change or not change different aspects of what's going on with their money in music right now. So, Patrick, I know that you've dumped more time into this than I did.
Well, sure. The government in this case, Uncle Sam rather than Uncle Larry is shooting for helping to fund artists a little bit more with the Music Modernization Act. So basically what the Music Modernization Act is this, it's been a really, really long time since copyright bills have been changed. As a matter of fact, this particular thing has not been updated since 1909, which is before recorded music altogether, let alone the fact that we've gone from vinyl to A-track to cassette to CD, and now we're in the digital world, right?
Thanks, Uncle Sam.
It's over 100 years, man.
It's
century.
Yeah, it's insane, right? That we haven't updated this.
Century.
But basically, there are people out there, they're making art, and there are people that feel like they've been robbed. It's kind of the same thing with photography. You used to be paid for a physical photograph, but now you put it online and everybody steals it, makes a meme and distributes it 1,000,000 times. And how much money do you get if you were the person that came up with the meme and now it's world famous, so you don't get anything, right?
Well, guess what, meme creator or picture guy, you should have been building your brand instead of just banking on the photos.
Right. So that's why the title is called the Music Modernization Act, because we were trying to take music and make this thing more modern. It was introduced by Congressman Doug Collins out of Georgia, Atlanta, one of the
Shout
big,
out, Doug.
right,
Yep, thank you, Doug.
obviously, and also Hakeem
Doug, AC.
Jeffries.
Shout out Hakeem.
He was a congressman out of New York. It was also put together by some chairmen in California and Texas. So all the big music markets actually cared.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise,
Yeah, there you
right?
go.
So we've got four pillars in this. Let's kind of talk about like what these four pillars do to change what has been happening to what will happen.
Well, sure. Music used to be, sold through physical, and we moved to digital, right? There were last year 100 million copies of physical music. That is so low, right? That's like a Michael Jackson record, and that's all CD sales. So digital is obviously very important. So what are the four things that have been ignored that this is now, picking up? Now, of course, there's a lot of things that are covered, but we just want to talk about the four major ones. The Music Modernization Act, one of the big ones that I see is this is dismantling the NOI loophole, which is notice of intent. I think that's the most important one. And basically what this notice of intent means is that there were royalties or money due to songwriters like yourselves, and it's being collected. And basically what these big companies, these PROs are claiming is, we have this money, but we couldn't find out who the songwriter was because they didn't fill out this information. They couldn't read it on the back of a physical CD.
That's
right?
why they live in big houses. Those
Exactly.
executives live in very, very,
Exactly.
very large houses in an industry that's struggling. That's weird.
Right. So this kind of closes the loophole on that a little bit. Also, there is the wheel approach. And the wheel approach talks about that right now, any dispute that you would have with your royalties would have to go through a single judge in the Southern District of New York. Now, if you think about that, if there's one guy, you've got two options. You either juice that guy behind the scenes, which is probably happening with Mr. L,
Totally freaking happening,
Right?
man. This is 2018. It's totally happening. It's happening in every industry.
or you wait for him to die. I mean, really, those are your two options, right?
Yeah.
And every other federal thing goes through a loop of judges, right? So that they don't have, something
One
from
guy
a
holding the
previous case, giving, changing their mind or whatever. So this is now finally looping through judges. So that is another really big, it's a win with the Music Modernization Act. Basically, one of the other really big things is that, and I don't know that this is a good thing. This is more on the not so great stuff. But, and this is, anytime you pass a bill, you can't just pass a bill where one side gets everything that they want. Right? Because there's always two sides to every argument.
That's politics.
That's politics, bitch. Right? And so this
Yeah,
had to be
bitch
attractive.
hole.
This had to be attractive to those people who are trying to hold that black box.
Yeah.
And so what they do is they put words into these bills. Now the bill is 109 pages long. So the part of this bill where these big companies would benefit is that there's a stipulation that if you don't claim inside of 3 years, it evaporates.
Or
and that
if
money
you
goes to
cannot
nowhere.
find Patrick Larney, for instance, writes a song. His name is spelled Patryk, which is very unique. So, of course, they're not finding Patrick Larney in the
Gaelic over here.
database.
We tried.
They're
The
not finding.
ICK, we
but
didn't find it, so we're gonna keep your
in
$100.
3 years we couldn't find you, man. And even though your name's unique, we couldn't find you. So we're gonna keep all that money, put it in the black box, and we're gonna buy a really big house and a really big yacht and a bunch of strippers and cocaine.
Yeah, strippers.
And if you ever show up, I'll pay you, but I'm laughing my way all the way to the back and the other 20,000 people who didn't show up,
And
right?
that is called the black box we referred to in episode 2 of the podcast. So
Yeah.
it is real and it exists.
Yeah, and it is. And so, these guys realize that, if this continues to go the way that it goes, that their back pay is going to be through the roof. So they're saying, you know what? The percentage of people, if we do this 3 years, if it's 10% that come for us, then 3 years from now, we have basically absolved ourselves from anything that we own. So that
Yeah.
makes it very attractive for the other side to get in on this bill.
Yeah.
Even with the cooperation, it's like, hey, in the future we'll do things right, but I'm grandfathered into all the money I stole for the past 110 years or
Right.
whatever we decided it was.
Yeah, no,
you know?
yeah. And I think the trick is be a part of that 10% that's coming for it.
Exactly.
Like, come for your money. Like, that's how you need to survive. Like,
Yeah.
you need your money.
Yeah.
So, like, go for it. you
Right,
know?
and I think one of the big ways to do that right now is if you're putting your money up on or your music up on Spotify, really important to put in songwriters in your credits. Spotify has just introduced this new thing where if you right-click, and this is on desktop, not mobile yet, but they promise to get there. They promise to get there. But if you right-click on a song and there is a drop-down menu that allows you to show credits, and voila, there's the songwriters.
Guess
a lot of
what?
people
They
in the
can't
world
dodge
think
it.
that Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears and all these big artists write their own songs. That's not necessarily true. They've got a machine, but there's somebody who's at home sitting in an empty room writing these hit songs. They might not have the best voice in the world, but they might be a great songwriter, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's
That's
90% of it. Yeah, it's
publishing-
Nashville,
that's
right?
Nashville.
Publishing deals, publishing. A shout out to Roundhill Publishing, some great friends of ours. But a lot of artists, like we know, Jack Berry is, a published writer with Roundhill, and that's the thing is they fight for these laws to favor you. You know that I'm pretty sure, and actually for a very long time, the PROs aren't the ones that are going the extra mile to make sure that that's happening.
Yeah. So, in the end, I guess, in something being called an MLC, which is a music licensing collective, is an entity that they're going to create to oversee that everybody gets paid for these things. Now, there are companies like Blockchain that are going in there to
Transparency.
not to hide, but to include the data of all of this stuff in the audio fingerprint. We've all been out there and Shazammed a song before, right? It's an audio fingerprint. Well, it finds the title of the song. Well, the title of the song is data, so why not put in the songwriters and everything so that whenever this stuff happens, the people who are in that data get paid for everything.
Yeah, like a really cool, like blockchain's really cool technology. So forward. One of the partners is one of the partners of Pledge Music, and it's just so forward and so innovative, and it provides extreme transparency. So in the past, like PROs, of course, transparency. They don't want transparency because that exposes the black box of where this extra money's going. But if Blockchain is partnered with Facebook, and Facebook is allowed to use your audio or use your microphone, and you're at McDonald's and a song is playing and they're not hitting a royalty, it's going to acknowledge the fact that it heard that. Like Shazam can pull that up in 0.25 seconds. It's going to acknowledge the fact that it just heard that. And then Blockchain's really cool because it puts it in a little bitty bank, like it's paying royalties for every single one when it hears it, and then at some point it pays out.
Right. So instead of some big music exec deciding that he's going to add a hot tub to his East Wing this week, you get to actually buy
his
Twinkies.
Second guest house.
You know what I mean?
You can actually buy an additional ramen noodle pack this week.
Right, exactly. Now, to be totally clear, the lesson in this is, I think, the most important lesson in this, because listen, the Modern Music or Music Modernization Act is going to go on regardless of what you do. But here's what you can do to benefit from this. When you are putting your music together, make sure, just put the tiny effort into filling out all of those fields in songwriter
Thoroughly.
and what you are and what your PRO is. Make sure it takes you 10 minutes. And then for the life of that audio, no matter who's sharing it, where it lands and where it ends up, you're getting paid. That is so worth 10 minutes of your
And
time.
can I interject? Either your PRO or your publishing company, or you can freaking get on Google. Or if you don't have an attorney, you better fucking get an attorney, man.
Get an attorney.
Get an attorney. Colin Mayer, Maher, whiskeyghossentertainment.com. He's a badass.
Absolutely,
motherfucker.
best music attorney
Badass.
probably in this town for the money on
Badass motherfucker,
hands
dude.
down.
We love him. He is so great, and he is in full support of the independent artist, and he works on an independent budget. But with that, like, he can give you a form that you fill out to ensure you are giving appropriate credit to the people that you co-wrote with. So get the form, get it signed in your co-writing process, get it be ahead of the ball, get it signed in the co-writing process. So when this shit all trickles down, you don't have to go back and double, triple work yourself.
Yes, and songwriters in Nashville, there's something that I want to bring up. Most PROs meaning Performance Right Organization, that's BMI or ASCAP or CSAC for most of you guys. You knew when you came to Nashville, I got to go visit those people and become one of these things, right? Most of them have a mobile application. And a lot of songwriters don't know this, that you can actually go in, click new song, before you even sit down. You walk into a co-write that are happening, some writers are writing twice a day in this town.
Oh, yeah.
You can walk in, hit new, and then you just get their information before you even start writing.
Yeah.
And that's it. Boom, it's right there. You put it in, and you're covered by your PRO.
Be thorough.
Yes. And one of the other things that's so important, make sure that you are registering with Sound Exchange. Now, you might say to yourself, I don't even know what Sound Exchange is. The reason that is because major record labels' first rule about Sound Exchange is don't talk about Sound Exchange. And the reason is because Sound Exchange is what gets you paid.
It's like Fight Club.
It's like Fight Club. Yeah, absolutely. They're like, don't tell anybody about it because that's how you get paid. And that's why most of you probably haven't even heard of it. But literally, that's how you get paid. So go on, put your stuff up on Sound Exchange. It's super simple. Just Google Sound Exchange. Go in and write your stuff. Again, the 10 minutes of administration work that you're going to do is going to get you the money that is rightfully yours and doesn't go into the hot tub of somebody's East Wing.
Yeah, it's always about setting up a good groundwork and foundation.
It is.
So, like, even, just that 10 minutes you're talking about, you don't know when that song's going to pop off. It could be a year, it could be 10 years. But, I mean, you want to have
Chris
yourself
Stapleton.
prepared and ready to monetize.
It could be your great-great-grandchildren.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Dolly Parton. Can you imagine? Whitney Houston came out and did "And I Will Always Love You," which is one of the greatest singing or greatest songwriters or selling songs of all time.
Yeah.
Dolly Parton wrote that.
Right.
So basically, she did nothing.
Thanks
and then
to Bodyguard movies.
Exactly. And then one day, Whitney Houston was like, I'm going to record your song. And she makes it the biggest hit ever. And Dolly just goes, I didn't do shit. And I just got like
a lot of money.
a lot of money.
Yeah.
Why? Because she put her 10 minutes of administration work in. So do it. Do it.
Talk about being thorough and being thorough in the process of executing what you need to execute at the beginning to make sure that you're hitting the revenues that you should be getting. We were kind of all talking about we're moving into festival season, which is the biggest moneymaker. Forget the music. And like moving out of the music, this is your number one moneymaker. I mean, it is live music, then you're able to sell merch at the same time. So festival season is it's approaching right now. I mean, what is this? We just hit February. Shit, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be here before you know
February?
it. Yeah, it's about to be party time, guys. I'm excited for festival season.
We're gonna be there too. We're gonna be
it's-
there as media.
Yeah,
Trust me, we're gonna have a
absolutely.
stage next year. But
Yeah.
this
That's
year we're
why.
media.
That's why they refer to February as Festuary because it's time to get ready for festivals.
And,
Nice.
and that goes into like diversifying the way you make money, right? You have to ride the waves of what's happening in society right now. If you're mad that you're not selling CDs, it's because CDs aren't relevant anymore.
Yeah, and stop being pissed off that you're not selling CDs and sulking in the corner and not writing anymore
Yeah,
because you're
adapt.
pissed off that technology is evolving. Guess what? Get on the fucking bus of making money in other ways. Other artists are doing it,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of independent artists making well over $100,000 a year.
Yeah, it's just what you have to do. It's just if you want to make music for a living, you just have to adapt to the market.
Exactly.
And I think festivals are such a great way of doing that because they've never been more popular and they've never been more indie.
Hashtag emerging music. Hashtag discover new music. It's quite the buzzword
I
right
had
now.
an example and it just left
You just
Bonnaroo.
keep farting. You
Bonnaroo. Oh yeah.
Keep farting,
Oh
Jared.
yeah, that really relevant one to Nashville, Bonnaroo.
It's only like 20 minutes from us.
Right. It has more indie artists, I think, this year than I've ever seen.
Sure.
And, I think they're understanding that market is there. And a really interesting quote I found from a rapper named...
Love it. Better be Jay-Z.
no, he's not a big rapper. He's an indie rapper. The guy's named Murs. So what he says is, you text, you don't call. You don't write notes. You don't pop up at your friend's house. You Skype. We're not touching each other. Technology has separated us so much. It's natural for us to have this desire to come together. And festivals really cater to that communal nature. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
it's
super
the
cool.
antithesis to the digital world. Like we keep talking about digital, but festivals,
Yeah, I
that's you know, that's raw, that's real, it's the community.
Now, how do we get, so independent artists, I know you guys are like, I've been in the game for a couple years and I've not submitted to a festival before, so I don't know the actual processes of submitting to a festival. So I'll start with you, Patrick, because you've got, and we'll kind of start with EPKs. And for the people that don't know what that is, it's electronic press kit.
Very
but
important.
EPKs and what the submission process will look like, and then how to make money at a festival. And sometimes playing a festival for the first 3 times, you may play for free. So get ready, because you may do that. Find other ways to make money. Get creative. But I'll let you start with that EPK.
Yeah, sure. So an EPK, like Amber said, is an electronic press kit, and it basically just means all of the information that you have in a nice little concise place that everybody can go and grab your stuff. Now, that used to mean, there were sites like Sonic Bids and stuff that you could go and you would put up like a PDF one sheet, and then you would put up like a song, and you would put up like a video and all that stuff. Listen, EPKs really, in today's day and age, have kind of just merged with a website. But
and
a
with
website,
a media kit.
yeah, and but a website can be really deep. If you're an artist, you might have lyrics and all that kind of stuff. So
Like
this is a
Jessica
high
down
level.
the road.
This is a high level overview in like no time at all. Just tell me what the band is. And so most people have moved an EPK to a single video that basically arcs your entire story, right? And what I have found with submitting some of the bands that we work with to festivals is basically you want to show a little bit of the fact that you can perform. So there should be some live footage in there, right? You also want to tell a little bit about your story, right? Don't just be a rock star. Get me invested, or a rock star. Get me invested in what your story is.
A rock store is good too.
A rock story. Yeah, rock story. Yeah. What, Pet Rock? Is that a is that a rock store? Yeah.
It's a pet rock that plays a guitar.
Yeah.
Right. But also, like, I think that it's really important to state, and I found that this has been really effective, is to state where you think you're going, to plan out what your vision is. What we want to do is this. That's what you should be leaving them off with, because then you can state, like you said, about your brand, or like what the things are that are important to you, and then that will help you to magnetically draw in brands that match you and things like that. Why do I want to tandem myself to you? Because of what my EPK says. So you want to tell, again, just to recap, you want to tell your story, you want to show some of your live footage, and I'm not talking about synced to your record track. You've got to show that you can sing live. You've got to have real captured audio there. It's okay if there's a tiny bit of a mistake in it to show that, like, hey, I can actually do this live. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you have to sell your story, and an EPK should be at no more than 90 seconds. Because the attention deficit disorder that is taking over America and the artists also lives with the people who are running through these EPKs trying to pick the bands. Oh, yeah. Now, the other thing is that you have to have festival experience. So as an independent artist, you're probably saying to yourself, if I don't have festival experience, how do I get on a festival? Yeah. So a festival just means, 6-7 bands playing at the same time. If it has the word festival, you can find those down the street. Apply to those things. Find your local small festivals and then list them. Festivals, like you said, they're exploding because experience is the most important thing for people these days, right? Absolutely. And so get into a couple of those things, even if you're just listing the names of the festivals that you've been on. People are like, okay, they understand how a festival works. They know how to get on the stage quick, get off the stage quick. They have a festival experience, and that'll help you to get booked as well.
And I'm gonna weave in, what if you don't have festival experience? So I'm gonna hit on the people that don't have festival experience. You can still, we are in emerging music, discover music day and age. I do agree. It does look better. It is not going to make or break if you get on a festival. What will make or break if you get on a festival? Your EPK. Also, because we know what we look for the same things a festival looks for. When you submit to Nashville Unsigned, we look at your quality. We look at your ability to perform live. we look at your media kit. So let's talk about this for a little bit, because a festival, they kind of don't give a fuck about anything except for your numbers. Let's just be honest. You can perform. Actually, I've seen people that don't even know how to fucking perform. I'm sure somebody like probably sucked a dick or two to get on the fucking festival. I'm not even lying. Like, to get on the festival.
The Deep Throat Festival coming this summer.
I'm pretty
Dude,
sure.
man, we're playing Deep Throat this year. We're really making it.
We actually did have a band submit a
gotta
song
start
that was
somewhere.
called Deep Throat.
Yeah, and it
he
was
a
jazz song.
musician.
with no lyrics whatsoever. And we were just listening.
And
We're like,
it
this
was-
is pretty good jazz.
pretty
I was
sure
like, what's the name of this?
That
She's like,
saxophone
Deep
was
Throat.
deep in his throat, so I think that's why it's called Deep Throat.
For the
But
win.
Unbelievable.
to kind of talk about, like, to piggyback on the EPK, we when we pitch ourselves to festivals as media, they want to see our reach. What's your reach? What does your reach look like? What does your engagement look like? And let's shout out Class 2 alumni, the Young Fables, and actually Patrick manages this band. One of the most engaging bands on social media. Like, if you are not engaging, you should dump a lot of time and energy into engaging and reaching your target demographic in social media, because these festivals want to see that. The reason they want to see that is when you're submitting yourself with your EPK and your media kit, look it up, Google it. We can even coach you through the process of getting together a media kit. But when you submit it, they want to see when you're promoting that you're playing at this festival. Damn it, I touched the table. When you're promoting that you're playing at this festival, they are reaching, their festival is reaching all of your audience. Well, not all of it. Probably an eighth of it. Thank you, algorithms. But they're getting the marketing, the advertisement from your demographic, from your fan base. So they want to see what's your reach, what's your engagement, how many followers do you have. They want to see all that as well. So look up Media Kit and how to get that shit together, because that is equally as important as how well you perform and what your videos look like. Some would say it may be more important.
Yeah, and what Amber is saying, a lot of people out there may be like, I don't have many followers though. But what she was talking about engagement, and let's put this out there. If you have any comments on any of your social media that you have not responded to, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
We had a
Hands
post.
down.
We had a
you
post.
have to reply. The conversation should always end with you. I don't care how annoying it is. If it goes 50
Even
comments,
if it's an emoji with a peace sign.
yeah, like
Whatever.
be competitive and be like, I will answer everything. I don't give. Yeah, exactly. Even if it's an emoji.
Yeah.
Like
Even
just
if they're like,
make,
thank you, have a good day, and you throw an emoji peace sign at the end, you were still the last one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, like when people clap and like that one guy has to have the last clap. It's like,
Yeah.
do that with your
Yeah.
comments,
Yeah. I
And,
mean,
then,
we
and,
had
and
that.
it will build engagements, even if you only have 50 followers. If you continue to do that, if that's your one rule, to be the last clap in the room, God, I
Yeah.
promise you, it will increase your followers.
And that
We had
has
to
a,
post
a lot to
looking for
do.
Independent artists,
Yeah.
real quick.
Yeah.
And this, just an example before we move on, to piggyback on that, we had one post, and it was about independent artists who are the ones to watch in LA, New York, and Austin, which is where we're scaling next. Holla. And 250 people commented. Well, the post ultimately ended up like 500 comments, because we went back through and commented to every single person that commented to ensure, A, they knew that their voice was heard, B, the comment is part of the algorithms, new for Facebook and new for Instagram. It's not about your shares. It's not about your likes anymore. It's actually about your comments. So you have to push the comment portion.
Everything from major record labels to
Yeah, I was actually going to touch on that same thing. And
yeah.
and the reason
Dang brain.
I was just gonna say Thane Brain, so I have a Thane Brain. Sorry.
Dang brain.
Take it away, Jared. Take it away, Jared.
on.
Turn everybody else's mic off. Casey.
the reason they've done this is to try and make Facebook a more like community-based thing. Apparently, the reason like they don't want you just scrolling through and like liking things and being antisocial. So they're like, Facebook's trying to make people be more social, which is, I think, hilarious. But that's why the algorithm now is more comment-based than like-based. So you're not getting as much out of the likes as you were maybe like 6 months ago. Like this is pretty fresh. And we've seen it in our numbers, and I'm sure other people are like, oh no, but it's like it's just transition.
Pimp your comments, man.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
just comments.
It goes back to the adapting to new
technologies
and
whatever,
how it changes.
And the other thing about engagement that I think is so important is like it's transparency, man. There you can go and you can buy Instagram followers and you can buy this and whatever, and you go into one of these artist sites and they've got 150,000 followers and then their picture has 2 comments.
Yeah.
It's like, come on,
Yeah.
dog.
Bitch, you don't bought all those followers.
Yeah, exactly.
See you.
And then and now that those companies have like moved over to we'll do comments, but it's still algorithms and it's still bot generated. So you get like somebody puts like like my mom passed away and it was been a really terrible week for me, and then like some bot will require like nice shot, beautiful picture.
They say like
You're
awesome.
really, man? And it's like, come on, dude,
Hey,
it's a
every
bot.
once in a while, clean up your socials. This is what I do. I'm like, raise or double tap if you're a bot. And you hashtag all your same hashtags, and they like call themselves out. Delete those motherfuckers. They're going to bring your shit down.
Yeah.
And this is a great segue into increasing your revenue before festival season. Let's talk about sponsors and being able to like engagement's good.
Mm-hmm.
Your sponsors are going to look at your social numbers. They're going to look at your reach. They're going to look more than your reach. You're going to look at your engagement. Again, this is how you're interacting with your fan base. And there's things, every single platform has audits. They can tell how many people are bots in your social platforms. Do not buy. Do not buy followers.
Don't do it.
You are killing yourself. Think about it. Think about this. So you have 15,000 followers and you bought 10,000 of those followers. You are pulling your engagement down.
Percentage.
You are fucking yourself.
Yeah.
You are literally strapping a dildo on and fucking yourself.
Yeah.
And there might have been a time where that strategy was relevant. I've seen examples where people, like, if you look like a big deal, people are more
It's a
likely
fake it
to
till you
believe.
make it mentality, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. It's like nobody wants to go to an empty bar, right? So
Yeah.
say you have a show. This is actually a funny segue. Say you have a show and nobody shows up. It happens to us sometimes,
Sure.
It's a bummer. But
It doesn't happen to us.
Yeah.
not
happens to Taylor Swift, apparently.
Apparently its reputation tour is not the best reputation.
So, like, you're more the idea is you're more likely to have people stick around if it looks like a good time is happening. So you don't want.
It's a cool party. Nobody wants to hang out at a shitty
That
party.
might have worked at one point, but the thing is, with the evolution of these algorithms, it's easier to see that, and that these companies that are supporting these platforms don't want that. So leave that in the past.
Yeah.
It's
and the
done.
sponsors too. They are so here's what's happening with sponsorships is they used to put money in a commercial or put money in a magazine or to be able to promote their brand in another way. Now they're looking for social influencers. Artists, we literally have 90 social influencers in our roster. 90.
Yeah.
And all of them have well above, and at minimum, collective of all social platforms, 10,000 followers. A brand, freaking Suave hairspray is looking, or Aquanet. Let's take Aquanet. They fell off after the 80s and the big hair thing. So
CFCs, I think.
Aquanet is
yeah. The ozone came around and said,
yeah,
"God,
I'm trying to say, like,
killing
oh my
me."
God.
Fluorocarbons.
Aquanet is looking to become relevant again. And the only way for them to be relevant again is to get into social influencer marketing. And so if your engagement, it's a way to kind of make more revenue for you as an artist to utilize the fan base you currently have to sell product that you use. Look at yourself, figure out what you're using. Stealing Oceans, for instance,
Sure.
like you've done some stuff with them. And they've, like, you coached them through a little bit of stuff. I'll let you kind of take us
Well,
through it.
even a better example, it doesn't have to be huge. You could think about Aquanet, you can think about those things, but think about where your traffic is coming from. For instance, she had brought up that I work with this band called the Young Fables. The Young Fables come from a small little town in East Tennessee, Maryville, right? But Maryville, the town, is like, oh my God, Young Fables are the only thing that ever came out of this town, blah, blah, blah. That town has a car dealership. And that car dealership, if you approach them and say, hey, man, look at these numbers. All of the numbers that are coming through our website are from Maryville because this town is getting behind us. If you pitch them for an advertisement of your car dealership, that makes sense. You're hitting the demographic. So don't be afraid to start small with your hometown or the things that you have, because there's a lot of money out there. One of the things I do want to kind of flip to, because I want to talk to Nick about this for a second. We were talking about buying followers and things like that. Yeah. $150, $200 like that. SEO. If somebody were to take $200 and stop fucking yourself with trying to put followers out there that are bullshit.
SEO?
If I was to put $200 towards SEO through a marketing company like Neochromatic, what can $200 do? Because what I heard is that this entire thing that we're flipping out about Russia being in the political system, that whole entire impact was, we're talking about $40,000 that Russia spent.
Yeah.
$40,000.
Yeah.
That seems really
Do it
small,
cheap.
but a huge
big
impact.
Big
So
impact.
talk to me about what $200 could do for you rather than buying
And
followers.
start with SEO, because we are digital gurus. We know what that means. You guys are artists. We're going to break it down so you understand what that means as well.
Yeah, definitely. So, the difference between the SEO and the SEM, so search engine optimization and then search engine marketing, with a $200 budget, comparing it to other things, then you can pull in people searching on, say, for example, Google, searching for something that you think would be an indicator that they would be interested in your band. From those and extrapolating the budget, and you can easily pull in clicks for less than 50 cents a pop. So if you are targeting well and pulling in the correct demographic, then you can have great returns on a search engine marketing investment. As far as search engine optimization, that comes down to your website and actually optimizing your website to ensure that it shows up high in search results organically. And that's a really great one, because you don't end up paying for that. That's just you being relevant to what people are searching for to begin with. And search engine marketing is more of an outreach tool. So search engine optimization is ensuring that people that are looking for you are capable of finding you, and then search engine marketing is expanding your reach and then reaching out to other people that don't know about you yet but would be interested.
Right, so like SEM being search engine marketing.
Yes.
That would be something like if your band, for instance, the Young Fables, we know that people who listen to Casey Musgraves would love the Young Fables.
Yep.
So in search engine marketing, I'm saying, hey, let's go. You can specifically say, let's go after people who have liked Casey Musgraves' page. And that will actually kind of limit your market to, instead of just buckshot, you're sniper rifling people that probably the percentage of them locking on to my band is probably higher. So it's money well spent.
And they call it, like, you're not trying to boil the ocean. Stop trying to boil the ocean.
Yeah.
You are not going to boil the ocean. Find a little lake. Find a little pond. Actually, start with a little pond. Boil that first. Maybe even start with a little bucket of water and boil that first.
Yeah, or maybe a pot.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, start small. Dominate your niche. Nashville Unsigned, for instance. We have not scaled to other cities. We have had global reach through Reverb Nation. Thank you, Craig Snyder and Reverb Nation, and Robin and Gary Earl for the sync. But
you couldn't put reverb on that, man, for Reverb Nation.
Only one man.
Thank you, Casey. Shaheen.
And limit your team. Limit your team to one man.
But like that, you guys made me lose my train of thought. Shit, man.
You were on boiling the ocean, sorry.
Yeah. No, start with a very small market. Dominate that market. Nashville Unsigned. We started in Nashville. We worked really, really hard to dominate the market in Nashville. Now our ultimate goal is to scale out into 3 other cities. We are not planning to go worldwide from one city.
Yeah.
That's fucking stupid.
It's crazy.
That is, you're trying to boil the ocean. It's impossible. You will fail.
Yeah.
So start with your markets. Find out where your music is relevant, your analytics from your site, from social media marketing, like all of that will show you where, even like SEM will show you where you're relevant. Dominate that until you're hitting 90, 100%. And until you're hitting 100%, don't scale. Don't fucking scale until
absolutely.
you're hitting 100%.
And speaking of SEM, if you're the person throwing the festival, that's an amazing way to sell tickets.
That's it.
That and having a good roster, right? It's good to have a lot of indie folks. Well, I guess everyone's indie. We're all indie. But what you need is the most popular of your indie folks needs to be your headline, right? Needs to be front and center to draw the people, and then everyone else can really benefit from that. But I think that's where the strategy is. You know, you get a good like front person, and then you hit the SEM, and you figure out your demographic that's going to show up to the festival.
Kid Rock is going to take care of your
gonna
SEO, and then your SEM is your indie stuff.
Nick's going to show up to the festival
with Jim Beam. Our headliner is Jim Beam. Bet you didn't know he played guitar.
And Jim Beam is not going to sponsor you unless he sings some really great analytics.
My number 2 amigo.
Yeah.
I just want to go back to like one of the things that Amber had said, like grabbing your niche market. There is an interview that still wakes me up at night that we did at Nashville Unsigned. Kenny Foster, such a well-spoken songwriter here in town, and he said, you know, if you want to sell to 4 million fans and you care so much about 4 million fans, but you don't care about the 4 fans, the first 4 fans, the way that you care about the 4 million, you're never going to get to the 4 million. So
That's
care
deep.
about those 4 fans the way you would care about the 4 million. And if not, quit. And I thought that was so impactful. It still wakes me up at night, and I'm like, man, he's so on point. You know, something we mentioned in a previous podcast was to make the money that you want, you only need 1,000 people to spend $100 on you a year.
Nice segue.
And so merchandise.
Merch for music festivals.
For
Let's
sure.
move into
Like
that.
what your hardcore fans will spend on you, just treat them well, man. It's like just treat them well and they will keep coming back, and they will tell their friends.
How do they spend $100 a year? They spend $100 a year through merch. It's not going to be through your music.
Right.
It's not going to be through royalties. Don't bank on that. That's mailbox money. Don't fucking bank on that.
Yeah.
You go splurge at the mall because you just got mailbox money. That's extra.
Yeah.
Focus on your merch. So get your EPK together right now to get ready for festivals. Get your EPK together. We went through those talking points. Get your merch together. Put your orders in now. Richards and Southern. We love you guys. You guys are awesome.
Amazing.
In town. Great, like innovative technologies, but get your merch orders in now or you will be chasing your ass later. And you don't want to chase that fat ass later. So get your merch in. You got a limited amount of time, so let's talk quickly.
Yeah, I would just love to really quickly touch on merchandise. Maybe in what I've found in studies of this, instead of putting your band name on your merchandise, an idea that you are putting out there, if there's a lyric that is universal, put that on your merchandise and you will probably sell more of it. I promise you.
I definitely agree with that. I think that's a big thing. A lot of people miss out on that because, you know, that's the first thing they think of. I want to get a shirt and I'm just going to put my logo right in the middle of it, you know. But, you know, it's really
like
more
our
about
Nashville Unsigned shirts. We are getting our collection of shirts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to get one right now. Ow, fuck.
Continue, Nick.
But it's about the idea. It's the concept that motivates people to buy, you know, a shirt. Because, I mean, there's millions of different shirts out there. But, you know, it's about, I want to live unsigned. I want to join a revolution. Like, those are
Join
things
the
that
movement.
motivate you to actually complete the
Live
purchase.
unsigned.
Yeah, now one of the things that we're lucky about with the name of our company, which was brilliant, thank you, Amber, is that
I just lucked out and bought the domain.
in Nashville Unsigned,
Let's just be
this is kind of, you know, one of those unicorn cases because we're saying Nashville, which is an idea. We're also saying Unsigned, which is an idea. So, you know, if it sounds like we're practicing what we don't preach or whatever by having Nashville Unsigned branded on anything, it is an idea. But like if you have a lyric that lends itself to a universal concept, it's probably better than putting, you know, frat boy chino.
But here's
on the
we're
shirt,
gonna
you know what I mean?
end on this. make it make sense. Have a plan of 5 t-shirts that lives in a collection. Like one lyric says, go fuck yourself. And the next lyric says, I love babies. Like that doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. Choose 5 lyrics or phrases in your songs that make sense with each other. Make a collection. And with that, we're fucking done, man. Buy our t-shirts.
We're out.
We love you
Check
guys.
'em out.
Hey, subscribe,
Yeah.
bitches.
Hey, you got Music Modernization Act is now behind you. Get out there, follow
Make
these
the
things
money.
that we said, and monetize.
Do what you can until you can't.
That's it.
Thank you, LED. We're out.
Stay tuned.
Guys, peace. I'm gonna dance for a second. Come on.
Thank you, Onino.
Yeah, thank you, Onita.
Woo!
Somebody got pregnant.
Everybody got pregnant. Front row.